What you're about to discover will completely change how you see the Indiana Fever's shocking transformation. But a heated confrontation between Caitlin Clark and her coach that nobody was supposed to know about. The racial controversy that the WNBA desperately tried to cover up. And the explosive halftime argument that turned a collapsing team into championship contenders overnight. The Fever just pulled off one of the most dramatic turnarounds in WNBA history. But the real story goes way deeper than what you saw on the court. Behind the scenes, this team was literally falling apart. Players were questioning their roles. The coaching staff was in chaos, and their superstar rookie was about to reach her breaking point. The chaos started with two devastating defeats to the LA Sparks and Golden State Valkyries that weren't just disappointing. They were warnings that something was fundamentally broken. These weren't close games that could be explained away. These were complete system failures that exposed every weakness this team had been trying to hide. When Caitlin Clark went down with a groin injury, everything spiraled out of control. One minute, she was dominating games and setting rookie records. The next minute, she was watching her team struggle without their floor general. Tamiris Dantas leaving for the Brazilian national team created even more roster chaos. Suddenly, rotations that had been working perfectly were thrown into complete disarray. Players who had found their rhythm were getting moved around like chess pieces. The beautiful ball movement that made this team special completely disappeared. Coach Stephanie White found herself dealing with a team full of talented players who couldn't figure out how to play together. But the real problem was much deeper. There was a fundamental disagreement brewing between Clark and White about how this team should actually play basketball. This wasn't just a minor coaching disagreement. It was a complete clash of philosophies that was tearing the team apart from the inside. Hey, if you're enjoying the content and want to stay updated with everything happening in the WNBA, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you the stories that matter. Thanks for being here. Now, back to the video. Clark was pushing hard for a fast-paced, up-tempo offense that would showcase her incredible court vision and passing ability. She wanted to run, push the pace, and create chaos that would give her teammates easy scoring opportunities. White, on the other hand, wanted to play slow, methodical basketball. She believed in grinding out possessions and controlling the pace. The tension between these approaches was creating massive confusion on the court. Players didn't know whether they should be running or slowing down. The offense looked disjointed because half the team was trying to play fast while the other half was trying to play slow. It was like watching two different teams trying to play the same game. Clark's shooting slump made everything exponentially worse. She was shooting a terrible 28.9% from the field and 11.4% from three-point range over 5 games. For a player who had been lighting up scoreboards all season, these numbers were completely unacceptable. The frustration was eating away at her confidence. Reports started surfacing about heated discussions between Clark and White during practice sessions. These weren't typical coach-player conversations. These were intense, passionate debates about strategy and player roles that everyone on the team could hear echoing through the gym. The tension was building every single day, and everyone knew something had to give before the team completely imploded. The Atlanta Dream game was supposed to be their chance to get back on track, but it started out looking like another disaster. The first half was a complete mess, with the same problems that had been plaguing them for weeks. The offense was stuck in mud, the defense was giving up easy baskets, and you could see the frustration building on both sides of the court. Then came the halftime conversation that changed everything. Sources close to the team revealed that Clark didn't hold back during that break. She walked into that locker room and expressed her concerns about certain players in a way that left no room for misinterpretation. According to multiple reports, Clark told Stephanie White to sit Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard because they don't pass the ball. Think about how bold that statement was. A rookie player was essentially telling her coach to bench veteran players because they weren't contributing to the team's offensive flow. The discussion got so intense that other players could hear voices rising from the coaching area. Everyone knew this was a make-or-break moment for the entire organization. What made this conversation different was that Clark wasn't just complaining about problems. She was offering specific solutions and showing the leadership qualities that made her a superstar. She had identified exactly what was wrong with the team's offensive flow, and she wasn't afraid to call it out directly to her coach. But there was another factor that made this Atlanta Dream game even more personal. The disgusting controversy involving Brittney Griner and her alleged racial comments toward Caitlyn. Video footage seemed to support these claims, showing what appeared to be Griner making those exact comments. The incident had gone viral on social media, but the WNBA had remained completely silent about investigating the matter. This silence from the league was absolutely shocking. If these allegations were true, it represented a clear violation of professional standards. Walking into this rematch, you could feel the extra motivation in the air. The Fever players had rallied around their teammate who had been unfairly targeted. This wasn't just another regular season game anymore. It was personal. The entire team knew they had something to prove. What happened in that second half wasn't just impressive. It was a masterclass in how championship teams respond when their backs are against the wall. The Fever came out of halftime looking like a completely different team. The ball movement was crisp, the defense was aggressive, and every player seemed to understand their role perfectly. Sophie Cunningham stepped up in a massive way, recording a double-double with 16 points and 10 rebounds, while playing with the kind of intensity that sent a clear message. Kelsey Mitchell absolutely exploded for 25 points, leading the Fever's offensive charge and proving that the team's adjustments were working perfectly. Even when Clark's shots weren't falling, she still managed 12 points and 9 assists, proving that her impact goes far beyond just scoring. She showed renewed aggression, driving to the basket and drawing fouls instead of settling for outside shots. Aaliyah Boston facilitated the offense with 8 assists, while contributing 19 points and 6 rebounds, turning the Fever into a passing machine that Atlanta simply couldn't stop. By the time the fourth quarter rolled around, it was clear that this wasn't just a win. It was a statement game. The Fever outscored Atlanta 59-37 in the second half, showing their ability to make adjustments and execute their game plan effectively. This wasn't luck or a hot shooting night. It was pure execution and teamwork. The final numbers told the whole story. The Fever's 27 assists on 35 made baskets showed exactly what happens when individual talent meets team chemistry. That's a 77% assist rate that creates the kind of basketball that makes opponents completely helpless. The 99-82 final score was just the beginning of what this performance represented. But here's the most incredible part of this entire story. This was only the second game with their full roster healthy this season. They had barely had a chance to practice together with everyone available. Yet they put together a performance that dominated one of the league's better teams. The implications are absolutely staggering. The 59 points they scored in the second half tied their highest scoring half in the last 7 seasons. That's not just good, that's historically impressive. They had found a way to unlock their offensive potential in a way that nobody had seen before. The adjustments they made at halftime had revealed what this team could look like when everything clicked perfectly. Sophie Cunningham perfectly captured what makes this team different when she said afterward, "This is a special group that we have. And when we can just go out there and have fun and be competitors and feed off each other, it's just easy. When people are smiling and other teams see that, it's game over." The transformation from a frustrated, disjointed team to a championship contender happened in the span of one halftime conversation. That's the power of honest communication and strong leadership. When players are willing to have difficult conversations and coaches are willing to listen, amazing things can happen. What happened that night in Indianapolis wasn't just a basketball game. It was the moment when a good team started becoming a great one. The foundation had been laid for something special, and everyone connected to the organization knew they had witnessed the beginning of something that could be truly historic. The Indiana Fever's story is far from over. With more than half the season remaining, they have the opportunity to build on this breakthrough performance and establish themselves as legitimate championship contenders. The chemistry that emerged from adversity, the leadership that came from honest confrontation, and the talent that was always there have combined to create something that has championship written all over it.